Welcome to the Nest Show, the podcast that brings you insights into the crypto market, trading and investment experiences, and what we're looking forward to as we navigate the space together. Before we get started with the show, I want to thank our friends and sponsors over at Prime XBT, where many of our listeners have already signed up to trade by visiting the birbnest.com/PrimeXBT. Now we're excited to reward you with a very special offer brought to you by our friends at Prime. Visit the announcement channel on our Discord to learn how you can receive a one-time trading bonus equal to 50% of your deposit amount. Exciting times indeed. Prime XBT is the most powerful trading platform offering immediate access to over 30 assets. Users may trade cryptocurrencies, forex, commodities, stock indices, and much more, all from a single Bitcoin settled account. Prime XBT gives experienced traders up to 100x leverage to multiply their capital while also providing users with multiple order types, low trading fees, and ultra high liquidity to equip them with a one-of-a-kind trading experience. Registration does not require any user information, so visit the link below and start trading on Prime XBT in minutes. You'll be hearing much more about Prime XBT here and why we're so excited about the products they already offer, including a one-of-a-kind BTC and Ethereum options trading platform called Turbo, and an upcoming co-vesting product that will give traders and investors alike an entirely unique opportunity to multiply their capital. We're excited to congratulate the Prime XBT team on a couple of project milestones, starting with the launch of direct crypto purchases with the use of credit and debit cards. To learn more about how to purchase crypto on the Prime XBT platform using debit or credit cards, visit Prime XBT today for a complete walkthrough. Also, we want to regard Prime for their progress integrating TradingView chart technology into their charting platform and their continued progress with the co-vesting module that will allow traders to mirror the activity of other traders. To find out more about the extensive progress of the co-vesting build-out, visit the Prime XBT blog for the most up-to-date information. And now for the show. What the Nest Show is. This is a podcast brought to you by the Birb Nest community, an independent crypto and forex-centered trading community built to sharpen each other in capturing opportunities in the markets while protecting capital along the way. What this is not: trading advice. We are not financial advisors, and you should not regard any information here or in the Nest Club as financial advice. You should always consult a licensed financial advisor before making any financial decisions.
Welcome everybody to today's episode of the Nest Show podcast. My name is Adrian, I'm CryptoBirb, and today we are having an amazing, truly amazing and inspiring guest, known under the name as KOROUSH AK. Welcome to today's podcast, KOROUSH. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks a lot for having me, Adrian. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm even happier to have you on the podcast, because I know how busy your schedule has recently become because of all the new ventures that you actually kicked off recently. There's quite a lot on that, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I just decided at one point stop treating Twitter like a hobby and start going really hard at the Twitter, social media, and general extensions of the stuff I was already doing there. And and here we are now. That's, I think, the reason why you noticed what I was doing and wanted me on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm very excited, to hear more about all the ventures in a second. But before we go, I myself, and I guess many people, especially the viewers, the users of any kind of just content that we do, because we both produce a huge amount of content, and that definitely does not go without any notice, because people truly appreciate what you're doing, what you've been doing, more and more on a daily and more regular basis. I'm personally very positively impressed with first of all the quality, the amount of content, your knowledge, your actual ability and skill, to build the engagement around. I think that's really amazing skill that you actually grown. But I'm super curious to hear from you, how did it all start for you? How it all started?
Well, the entire journey, we can go all the way back to university as a starting point, studying mathematics, and my path was pretty much, I wanted to either be a consultant or a high-paying banker type job. And then in my second year of university, one of my really close friends had a cool business idea. And I'd never really explored this sort of thing. As a kid, I was always into, buying something, selling it a little more expensive, trying to make money on the side. There was a lot of satisfaction in finding an inefficiency in the market and profiting off of that. So this opportunity came along. He was a very awesome guy, good friend of mine, and we were lucky enough that the first business venture went actually really successfully. So what happened is this kind of kicked off my sort of love for doing entrepreneurial stuff, and also took away a little bit from my love of mathematics and going down the high paid job role. So what happened is I kind of did everything I needed to at the bare minimum to get the grades I wanted for my course, and all my attention started going to business and entrepreneurial stuff, finding opportunities to make money, making connections, developing these skills. And since then I just went from business to business. About 10 ideas fail and then one works and it goes fantastically. This kept going until 2016, late 2016. That's when one of my friends told me about the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. He said, it's the new internet. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool technology. And then he's like, I've made X amount of money on it. And it was a very big number, he said. I'm like, oh, now this is really cool. So it wasn't the tech initially. Yeah. I was like, okay, now my business mind is like, oh, that's cool. So then I dived in 2017, like everyone else. I'm a genius. I'm so good at this game. But thankfully, I kind of had my mathematics background behind me. And also I'd been investing for a long time at this point, and I was religious about passive strategies, how you couldn't beat the market, how it was impossible to find these sorts of inefficiencies. So having this mindset was a bit of an advantage. I sort of knew I was being reckless as I was being reckless, and I was doing everything I could to start putting in basic principles to minimize risk of ruin, for example. If you've got a mathematical background, you understand risk of ruin, and you know if you keep overexposing yourself, you will inevitably lose regardless of how much potential there is and how much money you're making. So what happened is slowly I transitioned into sensible trading and sensible investing, and by the crash, luckily enough, I'd started cashing out, I'd started limiting my exposure, so I was one of the few that managed to survive the big crash of the end of 2017, early 2018. That was quite fortunate in the sense not only did I survive the crash, but had I had good risk management strategies at the start of 2017, I would have made a lot less money. So obviously that's in hindsight. In practice, it was still the wrong choice. Just because someone wins a lottery ticket doesn't mean you should have bought the lottery ticket, So now we're in 2018. I see a lot of people have lost huge amounts of money. Everyone's starting to learn that they can't just throw a dartboard at an altcoin chart and, pick the right altcoin and make money. And transitioning into learning about trading. And luckily, I've already managed to get some systems running which are making me money. And I see a lot of people in the Twitter space, for example, posting just charts, but not really looking like they know what they're doing. There were a select few who I was definitely learning from and were incredible. But I saw this bit of a gap. So what I decided to do is just make a trading journal on Twitter. I don't know if you followed me back then. I called it the Trading Chronicles. And I live traded for about 45 days. And I took an account from just under 30K to 40K, which obviously it's not, we've seen people go 10x and stuff. But in my opinion, those are some pretty crazy returns. And if you do that consistently, that's like almost a % a day. That's going to make you a lot of money over the long term. Obviously, scalability issues and stuff, that's not infinitely scalable. So I'm not saying I can make a % a day on any amount of money. But what it did was actually put some evidence behind the fact that I can trade, the fact that what I'm sharing with you actually has some backing to it. It's I'm showing you I know what I'm doing. And that's how it started. I gained a following from that. People liked what I was doing. And I noticed due to the mathematical background, I actually had a decent ability at explaining these these complex concepts in a rather simple way. People were really vibing with my explanations of just a simple trade I'd done. So I started transitioning more and more to the education side, and people loved that way more. And the followers started growing. I started making friends and connections in the space. I don't know if you know, my newsletters owned my first real public monetization of my channel. Before that, the only reason I was in Twitter was, one, it was really fun, and two, connections, networking and connections. I have met some incredible people in the space, and it's been a fascinating, incredible journey. And I keep meeting incredible people in the space. I mean, like, this podcast's given me the opportunity to meet you, Adrian, who...
Stop it.
No, seriously, I absolutely love what you've built and the way you've played the Twitter game. Yeah, I mean, here I am. The education kicked off, went to YouTube, started my own podcast last week. It hasn't launched yet, but recorded an episode, so that's happening too. And I have some big plans to potentially try expand it even further. And yeah, that's where I am. I think enough of me talking about that.
There's never enough, man. There's never enough.
Hopefully it wasn't too boring.
No way, man. No way. I think, by the way you're just talking about all your kind of like activities and ventures, I can tell you're extremely passionate about it. And I know that you commit like heartfully to that. Then this literally takes all your time. And well, first of all, it shows, right? People really appreciate it. People, are truly like thankful and like, just simply generously providing you with what they can in return, which is just, again, something that seems so small, but at the same time, it again can leverage you up very easily. That is just the number of followers Twitter, right? This is the simplest way, by building the value for their people. You in the most organic way, you kind of like gain in return the appreciation, right? You gain it's kind of like some people would call it perhaps karma, right? That what goes around comes around to you. When you produce some good, when you deliver some value, this value comes back to you in one form or another.
Yeah, I'd love to expand on that a bit. The delivering value part is pretty key. So a lot of people go the approach of, let me get into Twitter so I can make a whole bunch of money. I can do paid chills. I can open up a overpriced paid group. I can sell a useless newsletter. Like, any of these ventures can be done in a terrible way, but that's actually not the most profitable way. Sure, a minority will pull off a great scam, but in general, if you're taking value from your audience, eventually that's going to run out. It's a good terminology is looking at it like food. If you're giving food and feeding people and they give you food back, everyone's full, everyone's happy, everyone's getting food. But if you just take food and give nothing back, people starve, and eventually everyone starves because you've got no source of food. So it's deliver the value first and make sure people are benefiting from you more than you're taking from them. Like, it's just common sense that's the long-term approach. That's how you're going to continuously be able to sustain what you're doing, not just with Twitter, but with anything.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm actually very happy that you're bringing these points because, well, I'm even more excited right now because it clearly shows to me that we both like have a lot of in common with regards to kind of like our way of interpreting the surrounding, the reality, because, what I love about, again, I'm an engineer, right? From my background, I'm a chemical technology engineer. Like, I do have my second major, my second master's in the top school of economics, right? Within the project management and finance department. So, at the same time, being kind of like, having some sort of like a musician background. And all I can tell is, if you can truly understand the nature around you and the actual the rules that, just move this entire universe, this entire vehicle, it just all of a sudden you wake up to the fact that there is one universal kind of like a system, that it is all connected. And that the same rules that you could apply, in trading, or actually that you could apply in maths, the logical approach, it would all transit very straightforward and directly, to your trading, just what you said. And that's the next thing I actually want to talk about, because this logic, in my opinion, can become a huge edge over the market. What's your take on that? Like, what are your main edges, would you say?
Well, I'll start by addressing the initial point of understanding those fundamental systems. I feel the smartest people out there have the ability to see common patterns and recognize those patterns amongst a lot of different things. So for example, if you become a good trader and you get a good concept of risk and reward, suddenly you start analyzing all the actions in your life as what risk am I taking and what reward can I get? And that's just one basic concept. You can go to the fundamental root of just general efficiency of every action you take, and the more close you get to the fundamental root, the smarter the person really ends up being. That's how you get like the greatest philosophers of all time. Almost all of them were mathematicians as well. It's that common connection between these two core things, the core of like ideas and logic. That's everything. So mathematics, philosophy, that's the core. Those are the people that have like founded human civilization. But yeah, before I go on too much of a tangent from the actual trading.
There you go. There you go.
The actual edge in the market. So if anyone who follows my channel knows that I preach the actual technical analysis is not hugely complex. You need to behave like a pilot. If you have a simple list of rules which you follow, you can easily backtest those across the entire market. And what happens then is you have data to back what you're doing. So that's the, I think, easy part. Anyone can do that. They can make a set of rules based on super basic TA and test it. That isn't my edge, because I could give people the systems I have built, the exact rules, tell them what to do, and 90% of them will still lose money on that. So where the actual edge comes in is once you have these systems, you need to, one, understand the core concepts which make these systems. So when you look at a support level, you need to know what that support level represents, what exactly that demand and supply, how exactly that demand and supply dynamic works. You can see, for example, if you look out any of the courses I have out, free ones, they explain how demand and supply are essential parts of the support and resistance dynamic, not because I'm trying to give you some interesting facts, but because if you understand that, you know that when the market shifts and the market conditions change, you suddenly start knowing exactly how to adapt your systems to these changes. Same with moving averages, for example. If you know the super simple formula that makes up that moving average, you understand how the price data is being translated into that, and you're looking at more than lines on a screen. So that's one part of the edge, understanding those fundamental concepts and being able to adapt to different market conditions. If I was to give another part, which is probably one of the biggest, it's also with risk management. Again, the concepts are easy, but if you don't understand something like using a system with positive expectancy and making sure your risk of ruin is low, if you don't understand why that's important, you're okay to, risk 10% of your portfolio on a trade because you think, oh well, what if I lose it? But if you actually understand the concepts, you're like, wait, there's no way I can sustain this for a decade or 20 years. Maybe I'll put it off for 1 year, 5 years, but over a long enough period of time, this sort of reckless financial behavior will guarantee that you lose everything you have. That's so those core fundamental understandings really help me with my edge. And then the other side is the mental side. So again, I can give you the best system in the world, but if you get greedy, if you get scared, if you get panicked, if you can't apply that system. And again, it's something which the mindset thing isn't like you figure out how to do trading because you fix your mindset. No, it's a lifestyle. It is a constant daily challenge at any point, especially us traders who are doing it from home. We haven't really got anyone else. So if you're working in a bank, someone's got to check a lot of the decisions you make. Someone's going to, it's very rare that you alone will be able to completely destroy everything. But in our situations, literally we click one button and we could liquidate everything we've built. We could wipe out 5 years of work in one trade. Like that sort of concept, just you need a lifestyle around consistently maintaining your mindset, keeping it primed for the market. So exercise a lot, meditate, eat right, sleep right, keep good relationships in your life, know yourself well. That's a huge part of the edge. And a lot of people don't like to hear that because anyone can talk about that and it feels cheesy or weak. But I can't stress enough how you're not going to be a profitable trader if you can't master that side of trading.
Jesus, that's been, hugely expansive and very concrete at the same time. I gotta tell you, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you're actually sharing all that, because this only again adds another confirmation on top of my perception of you being a very successful person. And I don't mean necessarily just gauging based on whatever success you are building right now and whatever success you've built, which is enormous already on Twitter and around. But all I mean is the successful mindset, right? And just as you say, by knowing yourselves, by knowing your strengths and weaknesses, right? Only then can you really tell, this is kind of like you can call it like demon fighters, right? Or whatever. But truth is, what works for you based on your own capabilities, based on your skills, knowledge, experience, right? At the same time, which benefits kind of like of your, let's say, personality type you can leverage to actually work for you, right? And at the same time, how to avoid or just kind of like mitigate the impact, decrease the impact of the negative aspects, because people, especially the personality from the psychological point of view, it's always going to be a mix between all of our strengths and weaknesses, right? And the truth is that it's all kind of like your decision to which side you're going to put more effort. If you're too easygoing, if you're too lazy, you're going to naturally just stay more on your kind of like weak side, right? Instead of working towards your kind of like building your features and leveraging that to work in your favor. So I'm very happy because what you shared, I think, is quite eye-opening, right? And I think I definitely agree with that. And what I just also kind of like very briefly want to touch upon is you shared very interesting part at the very beginning of this section. In your early kind of like days, right? You would say that your trading journal would show that you would get like what 40%, right? Sorry, what was that? 40K over 30K, right?
Yeah, it was 30 to 40K in 45 days. Roughly, like the numbers went up and down a little bit. It was
very good. It was huge profit. It was very good.
I was pretty happy with it. Yeah,
it was very good profit, and that's the point, because people would say people would come to crypto to run this, get rich quick schemes, right? They would, run all these amazing shit coins that are right now just trading on Uniswap, right? With Yum, with no it's wild. It's wild. It's not having any sort of like fundamental value. It's reminding me the worst scams of 2017 peak euphoria. So that's kind of like interesting. But the truth is, if you think about it, and this is actually the message again to all of our viewers and listeners. The truth is that it's not one single percentage gain that sets you for your life. It's actually building the discipline and building your repetition in that. Because the aggregated percentage over some time that you make consistently on a consistent basis, this is what actually wins. Because if you think about it, Warren Buffett, he hasn't ever fucking got rich, because he was trading shitcoins or penny stocks, in his basement 24 hours a day, glued in front of, his squiggly lines over the chart. No way, right? He makes 20% on average annual return, 20%. And some people would come to crypto and they would say, this guy is just, it's shit, right? What is even like 20%? And still, he's the wealthiest investor on planet Earth right now.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that saying which goes, give me a second to remember it. So you either, I'm paraphrasing here, but you either understand and benefit from compound interest or you pay compound interest. There's no in between. Either it's working in your favor or it's working against you. And I mean, that's the principal thing which Warren Buffett uses, just steady compounding gains over a long period of time, focusing on capital retention rather than going for extreme risk. And you did touch on an amazing thing, which you actually referred to the 30 to 40K as a like sensible gain, when in my view that wasn't even sensible. I was taking on quite a lot of risk with that system because it was a very high win rate system, but when it did lose, it took heavy losses. So risk of ruin wasn't too great because while the win rate was very high during that period, any change in market conditions would have severely hit the win rate, and then a couple losses in a row when you're risking quite heavy amounts of your system and it's all gone. So just understanding those things and knowing that, yeah, you can target huge percentage gains, but you're never going to be able to consistently repeat them. So at very best, you make a quick profit and you reinforce a really bad habit into yourself that's going to pay negative dividends for the rest of your life. And there's just no win there. But everyone, and it's easy to judge because some people are desperate. Some people are looking for a way out. But as someone who understands the numbers, the odds are against you. Just because someone wins, you don't take on survivor's bias and assume you can do that as well. It's just not how the game works. You need to have this fundamental humility about you, where you need to know who you're up against in the market. To use an example, I personally, a lot of people, for example, I'm trading Link a lot right now.
I can tell that.
So I actually prefer trading Bitcoin, and Link Marines don't get too mad at me for that. But right now, look at the trend on Link, look at the volatility, look at the volume. It's
how about
sufficient.
you show up a chart?
Yeah, sure. I can get up a chart. Yeah, so you can see just a little bit of my analysis on this. But yeah, so I've been trading Link since around this big break here. Look through my tweets if you want to see it. And I actually did a recent YouTube video where I covered my trading of this move. And a lot of people have said, why don't you just buy Link and hold it because the fundamentals are so great? So instead of trading it, I could have literally just bought it around here and then just held it all the way to the top. And well, the thing is, okay, no matter how strong the fundamentals of Link are, I am not a blockchain expert. Like, there are people spending hundreds of millions in the market just to get tiny edges and make tiny percentage profits. If I'm not the top 1% of people who understands the tech, I'm not going to assume that I can get rich just studying a few white papers from my basement or whatever. You know, like, I stick to where I have an edge, and where I have an edge is systematic trading. So what do? I don't care about the fundamentals. I open the chart, I set my key level, and then when I see that this key level breaks, so this first candle over here, let's get that going. This candle over here, zoom out. Key level's broken. We know it's a strong trending asset that historically has trended harder than any other asset in the crypto space. It's so easy. You have your conditions for this asset. You've seen it enter pretty much price discovery, enter the asset, and then start trading it, assuming the trend is going to continue. That's how I play it. That's why I've been trading Link so much. And Bitcoin hasn't been trading like this. So why would I not be trading Link for that reason? Now, I can't remember the initial question which got us over here. So yeah, Birb, where would you like me to go from here?
You know, the initial question actually kind of, it all started with the edge, right? With discussing, the edge over the market. And I think, again, being aware of all your strengths and weaknesses and using simply, like, first of all, the knowledge, right? The experience, something that I call and understand under the name of competence, right? Which is the mix of, again, the knowledge, the experience, and the skills. And this is all kind of like that you get over the time if you take enough care. And this is what actually builds the competence, and the competence as a trader, right? The competent trader is a person who actually commits heartfully to that. And this, I completely understand and I agree with this type of trading. I do trade it this way myself, right? Although I still more prefer to, just switch and to switch to Bitcoin pairs mainly, because I truly believe technical analysis would apply way better, for its principles to the Bitcoin price pairs rather than the USD, which is kind of like secondary and derivative based on what Bitcoin does. One of the very interesting points that I'm very proud of while I was taking care of my designation of CMT at the first grade, which is the charter market technician. If it hadn't been for the COVID, I would already have been kind of like this middle designation out of free, and would manage to get the complete designation of the market complete technical analyst by the end of a year. But fuck COVID, it just ruined my plans. But what I learned in this book, what I learned in this entire kind of like a course, and I say venture by opening this entire designation process, is by providing the knowledge and proper understanding of, for example, how behavioral finance works. This is an amazing kind of like legitimately explained that chart patterns would exist because we make them exist, right? It's kind of like works just the same way as you said with pattern recognition, and it's all justified and then kind of like proven biologically on our end, because our human brains are rewarded with dopamine hormone, the happiness hormone, and that is that gets addictive for our biological existence. Whenever there is some familiar pattern recognized in the surrounding, right? Whenever you've learned some patterns, some formulas in the past, then you can kind of like extrapolate that to your future. Or you see and spot some patterns, your brain automatically rewards that behavior.
Well, Adrian, I'd love to build on that exact point you just made. Biologically, it's actually absolutely ingrained into us biologically, simply because, take a look at all the greatest art pieces we've ever formed. The Mona Lisa. You can see a perfect Fibonacci ratio throughout. Every great structure we've built that we absolutely love, the pyramids, for example, you will find the Fibonacci ratio in there somehow. So these repeated patterns are ingrained in the fabric of not just what we like, but reality itself. You've heard seashells, you've heard star formations. Did you know DNA itself follows the Fibonacci ratio?
I do. I do, yeah. But again, many would be surprised, I guess.
Exactly. So these patterns absolutely repeat themselves again and again. And I quite like what you said about the focusing on BTC pairs. So that actually makes sense to me, just intuitively, following on from what you've said. The reason I do stick to the USD pairs is simply because I have tested them historically, and they ended up working. So I have no reason to stop until my data suggests that it is no longer working. But I absolutely, after hearing it from you, someone who I definitely respect a lot, will consider having a look at that side of it as well.
To back to the merit, I think this is definitely very important to know, again, to have the knowledge, because the knowledge in the first place is always your main edge, again, the primary edge, the prime edge. And your edge your edge is also, in life generally, delivering the good, content to the people, spreading the goodness, spreading very positive vibes and emotions, which again promotes, I think, you as a good person, and that you seem to be, again, not only very passionate about it, but you seem to believe in some bigger values than any sort of money you would make, right? And how about you tell me about your entire brand ventures, plans, and ideas, missions that you're all having it right now?
I'd love to. So I want to start on what you said about the delivering value. So again, it's often misjudged by people when someone is delivering value, because you start to think, oh, why would they want to help me? Everyone's out to get themselves. But that's normally the mindset from people who are actually out to get themselves. When you function in the world long enough, and you are aware, and you actually go through life paying attention to what happens, when you give love, you win, because you feel good while you're getting it. And either you get nothing back or you get something bad back. But either way, what you give out makes you feel better. So love, that's a fantastic thing to give out. Equanimity, just being able to stand in the face of adversity and not feel anything negative towards that. It really just, all it does is help you. The other is sympathetic joy. Like when I see someone successful, when I see someone like you, Adrian, who's built this huge company, is maybe the longest running paid group in CT, these sort of things, I don't get jealous. I don't start to think, oh, that guy must be a scammer. Oh, that guy must have done something awful. I think, wow, that's incredible. I'm so happy for him. So I feel good already. How can I learn from him? I benefit even more. So these sorts of giving attitudes just end up helping you. So with my plans for the future, the general vibe of my brand and what I want to do is build richer lives. And I'm starting in this financial niche. So right now what I'm sharing is my trading knowledge, my knowledge of investing, building wealth, succeeding in business ventures, because while I can openly say I've failed a lot of what I've tried, but that's part of the entrepreneurial process. You fail, something works out, it makes up 10 times everything that's failed, and then you keep going through that process. It's you either win or you learn. You need that mindset to keep going forward. So what I'm trying to do right now is build richer lives. That's my logo, my slogan, starting with the finance, but I want to go beyond that. I think the way I can really make a difference in the world is to enforce those things which I've told you about. Love, feeling sympathetic joy, like being happy for what other people are doing, equanimity, being able to stand in the face of such things while not feeling terrible. Like if I teach people that those are the best way, like they will benefit more than other people will by doing that, that sort of message is what I want to spread. Through meditation, for example, I absolutely adore meditation. It's something I've been really passionate about for a while, and it's the secret to how I work as hard as I do, because it just lets me reinforce and maintain this sort of mindset. I want to share that message with people. I want to pivot the brand in that direction. I want to focus on health and just build something that makes the lives of everyone who consumes my content better, and then continue doing that and let the chain effect play out itself. So if I just continue to help people, continue to have more of a positive effect than what I get back, that's only going to be an upward trajectory. I don't see that failing, and I'm just going to continue pushing in that direction. That's my very macro vision of where I'm going with the brand.
It's truly amazing, and inspiring. I can tell you, I see so many similarities in the way we kind of like approach things. And, this entire constructivity and again, the idea that there is way bigger values, there are way bigger values that you're actually just putting on top of any sort of, again, money that you can ever make in the space. This comes secondary. This is like a side product, right, to this entire reaction synthesis.
That's what I'm saying. Do this stuff. The money will come. Don't even think about it. The money will sort itself out. Don't be an idiot. Don't let people take advantage of you. Know your worth, but focus on the other stuff and the money will come itself.
Yeah, beautiful said, man. Okay, before I let you go, there are a couple of very tiny, brief questions that I'm quite certain many people would love to know the answers to. First of all, what about Bitcoin? What's the target, man?
Upward trajectory, guys. I don't think Bitcoin is stopping anytime soon. I mean, this is me parroting Pomp. Remember, I'm not a fundamental guy, but I really like Pomp's vision on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's the first one. Bitcoin's not succeeding will hurt cryptocurrency, and it will take a while for cryptocurrency to ever recover. I think Bitcoin will succeed, so my trajectory is upwards. I'm not going to give you a target because that's useless. No one knows where it's going to go, but I do think it will go upwards, so I want to be exposed to Bitcoin as that happens.
Yeah, that's true. And how about Chainlink target then? Give some food, to those craving, Chainlink people.
Okay. So the people who want the Chainlink target, I do believe there is no reason Chainlink will not at least exceed $20. The structure's intact. The market is bullish as hell. It doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. So yes, I will say I believe Chainlink will exceed $20 in the near future.
It's crazy. Okay, I think, those who were starving actually got some food already from you based on what you're saying into the amazing target. So the belly is gonna be, just full. Okay, is there perhaps, there is always like a very good custom, to leave all our listeners and viewers with your final thoughts. Is there anything that you would like to share on top of what you've already said to leave the final message for the people?
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Adrian touched on some really cool topics about that positive mentality. Positivity's kind of not cool these days, but honestly, the most selfish thing you can do is be positive, project love, be happy for other people when they succeed, and it'll all come back. It is the most selfish and beneficial thing you can do, but people don't realize it. So if I can leave you with one message, it's to at least be open to the possibility that that is true and look into it a little bit. Try it out in your life and see what sort of returns you get.
Beautifully said. 100% well said. Couldn't agree more. Okay, guys, I think this is the best we could get, to get so much complex and compressed knowledge from KOROUSH, aka our amazing ghost, to today's episode of the Nest Show. And this was CryptoBirb, and it's just rolling on to the next one, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
Beaksy is an easy-to-use cryptocurrency exchange. Get verified in minutes. Buy and sell popular cryptocurrencies on a safe, compliant, insured U.S. exchange. Enjoy everything you need in one place. A two-way ramp for major currencies, credit and debit card support, an industry-leading API, responsive customer support, and a 5-star mobile app. Love your primary cryptocurrency exchange? If not, make the switch to Beaksy today. Visit Beaksy by clicking the link in the description.
I'd like to thank our listeners for joining this episode of The Nest Show. Again, we want to thank our sponsors at Prime XBT for their support of the show and for their support of our listeners. Once again, after signing up to trade at thebirbnest.com/PrimeXBT, be sure to follow up on the announcement channel of our Discord and learn how to capitalize on their generous trading bonus offer that they've exclusively made available to our community. If you've appreciated the depth and breadth of what you've heard with us today, subscribe to our podcast and find our landing page at thebirbnest.com. We have a vibrant Discord community which acts as our central hub of operations, and we welcome you to join us at thebirbnest.com/Discord. We also offer an extensive free bulletin on emerging crypto market trends, exclusive undervalued gem reports, and in-depth expert technical and fundamental analysis at thebirbnest.com/bulletin. We always appreciate engagement from our community, which of course means liking the video and subscribing to our page, where we insist on bringing you the highest quality content available. Also, we're happy to incorporate tips and topics from our listeners and encourage you to email us at thenestshow@thebirbnest.com. This podcast is brought to you by the Birb Nest. Thank you, and trade on.